In this video, we are going to discuss about the pandas missing values. How can we handle with the missing values and what are the several functions that can be implemented to treat the missing values. So in pandas data frame, missing values are marked as nan. Nan, as we already discussed, not a number. When summing the data and missing values are treated as zeros. Missing values in group by methods are always excluded. ComeSum and ComeProduct methods ignore the missing values but preserve them in the resulting array. If the values are missing, the sum will be equal to nan, that is not a number. Now there are several methods and along with the description is given here. Drop NA is dropping the missing observation. This is used to drop the missing observation. Drop NA how all missing observation where a cell is NA not available. Then you can see drop NA axis and how is given all. Then drop columns if the values are missing. Is null returns true if the value is missing. Not null returns true when value is not missing. Fill NA with 0, that means replacing the missing values with zeros. Now for doing several examples, we have a file here and the link is mentioned in the tutorial. So you can download it from there. Here you can see there is a link for download file, and when you click here, a flights.csv will get generated. So you have to click here and download this particular file that is having several data for flights. That is the name, the number, the arrival time, departure time, year. Here you can see that this is the file, and in this we will be operating with the help of, and in this we will be operating our missing numbers in pandas. So you download it, and next what you have to do is when you go to this to the home page of Jupyter Notebook, then you have to click here to upload this file here so that we can use the read CSV method to read the particular file. Now in download, you can see here the flights which I have just downloaded, and you have to open it. Then you have to click in this upload button so that this particular file gets uploaded here. Or you can just simply mention the part if you want to, but I think this is the easier method. So you have to, and then you can see that this flight.csv file is uploaded here in the home page of Notebook, and then you can use it. So here now what you have to do, you have to firstly write to read this particular file, and what we do this, I am storing this in a flights variable, and then I'm storing it flights is equals to pd dot read CSV, and then we give the name of the file, that is flights dot CSV. Now you read this command, the command is okay, that means this particular file is now read, the CSV file is there in this particular notebook, and now we can perform several operations on it. So this is how you can, firstly you have to download the file and then you have to perform the operations which are there. So firstly if I want to know the shape, that how many columns and rows are there, so I have to just simply write flights dot shape. So here you can see that there are this many rows and 16 columns. Now to print several records, we use the head function to print off 5 records, let's say. So we have to write flights dot head, and if you do not mention any number in the parenthesis, then it will print the top 5 records like this. You can see here 0 to 4 index is given, and these are the records which are there, and this is the exact table which is there in flights.csv. And if you mention here any attribute, that for example I want to print the first 6 columns, then you have to mention in the parenthesis, so it is going to print the top 6. Next, if you want to check that how many null values are there, so for that we have studied here a function that is null. You can see here is null is a function return if true values, if values are missing. So if I want to check that how many values are missing columns wise, so I have to write flights dot is null, and then what I will do is I will check the sum of it. When you execute the cell, you can see here column wise it being displaying that how many null values are there. So in year there are no null values, in month also there is no null values, day no null values, and departure time there are null values, departure delay also there is null values. So this is how we can check column wise. Now if you want to check row wise, that if there are null values in each row, then how can you do that? So for that what we will do, we'll create a variable name f1, and in there we will store flights, and in square brackets we will write flights dot is null then we will use .any access equals to 1. So this is done. Now we want to print also. This is check that if there are null values or not. So for that we will use f1 dot head and f1 dot shape. Now here you can see that these are the exact null values row wise which are there in this particular table, that is flights.csv. Next, if you want to count according to the hour, that how many flights are being leaving or departure according to hour, then how can you do that? So for that we will simply write flights are dot value counts. And now as I execute this particular cell, flight hour value counts, you can see here that according to the hour, the departure and arrival of flights are listed. Now you want to remove all observation with missing values. You want to remove the observation that are with missing values. So how can you do that? We have studied a function drop any. For example, I'm storing that in f2 variable and I'm writing here flights dot drop any, and then what I'm doing, I'm going to print the f2 dot head so that I can see the exact print if the missing values are removed or not. And next I will check the columns also, that how many columns are actually there. So for that we will use the shape. When you execute this particular cell here, you can see that the values have been, missing values are removed, and now we have only 1, 5, 7, 2, 9, 2, 7 columns, whereas earlier we have, when we check the shape, this much column. So that means the missing values have been removed which are there. So those values have been removed. Next, we want to check that how many missing values are in the departure delay and the arrival delay. So now we have removed the missing values, but if we have not removed, and I want to check for 2 columns that how many are there. So for that what we can do, we can simply write in the double square brackets departure delay and arrival delay is null, and we want to check the sum. So if there is any, it will be returned. So let us do that also in flights. In double square brackets, firstly you have to write the departure delay and then you write arrival delay. And then simply what we used to do to check that is null dot sum. So here you can see that in the flights, this is an F2 which we have removed all the null values, but the original flights.csv still have the null values. So there if we check that flights departure delay and arrival delay is null sum, then it returns me both the columns in which there are how many is null values or how many missing values. So that has been returned to me. So by the end of this video, we have studied about missing value and how can we handle missing values, and the link for referral notes will be given in the video description.